You may have heard the saying, life is like a game of chess. Chess, being an unambiguous game, is a great combination of reasoning and creativity, which keeps us guessing about the future, the same as our life. Much like the game of chess, a successful life is not solely based on luck. It's dependent on knowledge of how to make best use of your resources. We know that each move we make in life or in a game determines a unique path for the future. A well-known quote from Saveli Tartakower, a chess grandmaster, stated, "Tactics is knowing what to do when there is something to do. Strategy is knowing what to do when there's nothing to do." What kick-started my fascination in the symbolism behind chess was when I saw the game being played everywhere in the movies. It can mean a lot more than you think, whether that's through metaphors, analogy, or even a plot twist. You may remember this scene from X-Men. Humans are referred to as pawns throughout the X-Men movies. In the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone movie, Ron's sacrifice is symbolic of the many sacrifices that are essential to victory. Without Ron sacrificing himself in the game, they would have lost. Chess is more than a board game. It encourages us to think analytically, which can be applied in real-life situations to achieve better outcomes. Now, do smart people play chess, or does chess make people smart? One scientific study showed that playing the game can actually raise a person's IQ. A study of 4,000 Venezuelan students produced significant rises in the IQ scores of both boys and girls after 4 months of chess instruction. Schools back in the day used to have chess clubs and teach the children the game of chess. Unfortunately, this has become a distant memory. Teachers fell out with the government in the 1980s and cut back on out-of-hours activities. As a result, it became limited to just the independent sector and became an activity purely for the middle classes. If you were to attend a state school today in the UK, there's 1 in 10 chances that they'll do chess. But nowadays, funding goes to teaching children how to play the triangle or some sort of other lame activities, but I shall digress. Let's first start by studying the game of chess itself and the symbolism behind it. The game of chess is known to have originated in India. It was passed on to the medieval West through the intermediary of the Persians and the Arabs. There are some evident correlations between the game of chess and astrology, which leads us to the conclusion that chess is a game inspired by the universal laws, possibly by the planetary movement. The game is played on a 8x8 checkerboard. Combine the two numbers 8 and you get 88. This number could signify the 88 constellations, which are groups of stars that appear to form a pattern or picture. Also, 8x8 was deemed the pattern for temples and cities as the number of cosmic perfection, essentially denoting the cosmos in all its possibilities with the force at work in the universe and in man. The black and white pieces are the representation of darkness and light, the war between the Titans and the gods, or the Asuras and the Devas. Like two sides of every coin, these black and white squares or pieces may symbolize many things such as female and male polarities, negative and positive forces, 0 and 1, night and day, lightness and darkness, as well as the yin and yang duality. So essentially, the 32 white squares and the 32 black squares, if observed, are the evident manifestation of the opposite pairs of the Hermetic philosophy, the permanent battle between the forces of good and evil that we have to transcend and master. The pieces are divided into teams defined by shade. The traditional colors are black and white, but other color schemes can embrace the essential element of duality. Pieces may be light gray and dark gray, brown and cream, red and blue. The 4 sides of the chessboard is known to represent the 4 elements of nature: fire, air, water, and earth. The cycle goes like this: air feeds fire, fire dies by water, water is contained by earth, and earth creates the air. This cycle is meant to represent the interconnection of all things and the cycle of birth, life, change, and transition. So now let's look at each piece and see what they represent. The king is the leader. He stands the tallest and has center stage on the chessboard, flanked by his queen and protected by his assembled army. The king would therefore represent the sun, the heart, the forces of law and order. The queen is by far the most fearsome member of the army, able to launch attacks in all directions with accuracy. This piece is the second tallest piece on the board, which signifies her power and importance. The queen would be correlated with the moon in astrology. The moon moves quickest of all planets, and so does the queen on the chessboard. The bishop is the religious representative. Therefore, the bishop represents the church. It's been an important and powerful entity throughout history and even today. Religion was very prominent during the developing years of the game of chess, and so it stands to reason that it would play a part in the game of life. It's considered as the third most powerful piece on the chessboard because back in the day, religion could influence many people. The bishop was considered next in line from the reigning king and queen in medieval Europe. Jupiter is the most correlated to the bishop. According to the Roman mythology, Jupiter, also known as Jove, was the god of the sky and thunder. He was the chief deity of Roman state religion throughout the Republican and Imperial eras. The rook, also known as the castle or tower, are positioned on the corners of each player's side. The castles are the protective barriers or walls that protect the higher-ranking pieces. This is essentially why they're placed on the sides to indicate protection over royalty, the same way as a castle protects those on the inside. The rook's nature is known to be Saturn due to its masculine character. The knight pieces, also called a horse, are the protective knights in the castle. During the medieval times, knights were affluent and well-educated upper-class warriors. They were protectors of the royal family, the first line of defense in case the enemy makes it through the castle walls. Therefore, the knights may be associated with Mars. The final piece on the board to discuss are the pawns. Each side has 8 pawns, and they're the soldiers protecting the royal court behind them. They are the first line of defense against any invaders. Pawns are symbolized as peasants or nobles that work hard but are weak. Pawns that move forward to the final rank are entitled to be exchanged for a piece of higher value. This could be a metaphor for spiritual advancement or reward for those people who seek truth and work hard. Pawns can be represented through Venus and Mercury. Chess is not always about winning. Sometimes it's simply about learning, and so is life. The game of chess and the game of life both require strategy and planning ahead. Life feels to us there are thousands of moves and problems around every corner. Some are small, while others are humongous. We're not in control of the obstacles that come our way, however, we can control our response. The game shows that every step in your life has a purpose to it, and it's imperative to be wise in the path you choose. It's also important to anticipate the player moves, and in the instance that they beat you with a move, you have to find a way to get out of that situation. This is why you may have heard words like, "Make your moves carefully if you want to win that court case," or "That boy likes you, you just have to make the right move." These analogies can also be applied to financial planning. Finance is full of predictions, assumptions, and future anticipations, just like a chess game. In finance, the objective is to accumulate money, and your position is only valid until the next session begins, at which point you can employ a strategy to rebalance your portfolio. Just like in chess, your assets must work together, so each session represents a chess move, and there is an opportunity to deploy a strategy for the next turn. Life also requires a lot of sacrifices. Without making sacrifices, you may end up losing out on the more important parts of life. Our human aspect wants to control the timing and after effects, not only for ourselves, but for the people around us. Essentially, we want to influence the lives of those we love because we think we know what's best for everyone. However, we must trust their process regardless of the stress and anxiety it generates for us. Remember in Harry Potter when Ron Weasley jumps on the knight and chess pieces are getting destroyed everywhere? And Hermione wants to run on the board and save him, but she can't. That's the metaphor for our lives. Chess teaches you to not let your emotions guide your actions. There's always the moment whilst playing the game when you're about to win or take an important piece off your opponent that you fail to notice there's a trap set for you. This excitement usually gets in the way of your judgment. Good chess players know not to let their emotions get the better of them. Just like in life, you learn to develop patience and discipline. So you become less inclined to make impulsive decisions as you grow in wisdom. Great chess players are known to visualize the chessboard even when they're not playing, envisioning every conceivable arrangement with imaginary pieces, which makes them stronger at playing the game. They study the game until they know it inside and out. Life involves a system of rules, possibilities of action, and likely outcome. Just like if you were to set up a business, there's going to be a set of rules that the company has to abide by too. The system of economics of supply and demand, marketing, reinvesting, employing the right people, and so on. When you're playing against a good opponent in chess, there's no room for mistakes. That's why you need to get creative in your game plan. Chess can actually make you creative. It's been shown to improve your thinking in both hemispheres of the brain and help you with logical and creative thinking at the same time. A German study indicated that when chess players were asked to show chess positions and geometric shapes, both the left and right hemispheres of the brain became highly active. Their reaction times to the simple shapes were the same, but the experts were using both sides of their brains to more quickly respond to the chess position questions. Crazy, right? Getting creative means finding opportunities where obvious ones don't exist. Critical thinking or thinking outside the box is vital for everyone for self-development. So these are many life lessons that can't be learned from playing chess, and the ones discussed are just the starting basics. Chess was designed as a metaphor. The common perception of the game in its modern form is that it reflects a battlefield dynamic and serves to train thinkers in tactics and strategy. Every day we tend to plan our moves ahead. I will do this, I will do that, but destiny has a different plan. Sometimes we can anticipate destiny's moves, but sometimes we can also get a complete shock. Suddenly you're drowning in debt, somebody falls ill, suddenly the government changes the rules, and so on. Then we must change our plan of attack and get into defensive mode to minimize damage. Sometimes what seems like destiny's attack turns out to be favorable to us. That's if we're adaptable and see the opportunity. So be cool and enjoy the game of chess. I'll end with a famous quote by Thomas Huxley. The chessboard is the world, the pieces are the phenomena of the universe. The rules of the game are what we call the laws of nature. The player on the other side is hidden from us. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please do like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family. Comment down below the lessons that chess has taught you, or if none. Take care, and see you in the next video.